Hey everyone, join me to talk about how you can make your staff feel appreciated. Hello, welcome to Workplace Wake Up. I'm Jen Shaw. Every week, I spend about 15 minutes covering key legal developments, introducing you to interesting guests, and providing some entertainment to start your workday. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I cannot believe we are halfway through June, which means the holidays are coming. Unbelievable. I'm so excited, but we are. And it's not that hot yet, which I'm kind of surprised by. I think a lot of you know I live in Sacramento. It can be hotter than I can't even use proper language for how hot it can be, but it's not that hot. It's not terrible. It's like high 80s, low 90s. So I'm not complaining. Speaking of weather, we are going to talk about summer perks to give your employees. So we just did this in our office, and I think the staff really loved it. We are giving everybody 2 people a week on Friday. They get to leave at noon, paid time off, and we're rotating it. So during the summer, I think everybody will get 4 Fridays off. And they're super excited, and we're super excited because we can do it. And it sort of got me thinking about how we are so lucky to have the employees we have. And I know every employee isn't perfect. I'm not a perfect boss. I don't expect people to be perfect employees. But there really is something to this employee retention. And I've been thinking a lot about this because it is frankly hard to hire right now. We've interviewed some great people, but there just weren't good fits in terms of our needs for the substantive knowledge that we need. And we have a great team right now. We have great lawyers. We have a great director from administration, Ronnie Stover, and we have amazing staff. So I buy lunch and we do those kinds of things, but I thought, well, we need to do something so that they can have kind of an extended time, especially if you can leave early on a Friday, you don't hit traffic. Anyway, you get the picture. The point that I want to make is that when we are busy and when there is so much going on in the world, and I'm not even going to go into it, what's going on in the world. We all know what's going on in the world. It is sometimes difficult to take a step back and think, okay, what should I be doing to thank the people I'm working with? What should I be doing to make sure people are happy? What should I be doing to make sure they know that I'm here and I'm present and I care about them? It's a very fine line, of course, because on the other hand, you sometimes have to take corrective action against people. And it can be really hard when you think of them as your family or your friends, right? That can be tough. So I want you all to spend some time over the next week before the next podcast thinking about what can you do to make people feel appreciated at work. I don't care where you work or what you do. I guarantee you that the people with whom you work want to be recognized. They want to be appreciated. They want to know that their contributions matter. They want to understand what you want so they can meet your expectations. And one of the things we focus on, of course, in this podcast is how to avoid liability for employment law issues. And it's very interesting to me. In my 30-plus year career of doing this work, I have had a number of very high-risk litigation cases, civil litigation cases, that have settled for an apology because the employee felt that the manager or the supervisor or the person who they were suing actually wasn't a bad person. They actually cared about them. They had some problems. They had some misunderstandings. They had some issues. And yes, the employee did leave and go get a lawyer. But they were actually willing to have a conversation with the person they were suing to try to resolve the situation. And in several of those cases, the resolution was literally, I'm sorry. I wish you all the best. I wish all this hadn't have happened. And everybody leaves happy, right? I mean, they're not happy that they had to go through the litigation in the first place, but it got settled a lot earlier because of the rapport that the employee had with the leader. And that's something that has really stuck with me over the years, because when you have a relationship, a connection with the people with whom you work, and you make a mistake, and let me tell you, I do it a lot. As many of you know, I have a lot of energy. I have a super loud voice. I sometimes say things that aren't appropriate. I don't mean to. I'll be talking to someone on the phone and I'll think nobody can hear me, but the door is wide open. And it's never about anyone in the office. It's just, I might talk politics. Okay. I have a very particular political view that I'm not afraid to tell you, right? I didn't vote for President Trump, and I don't think he's doing a good job. And I'm entitled to my opinion. And some of you on this podcast may disagree, and that is fine. I respect that. But I sometimes talk about it in very animated terms in my office. And I know that there is at least one person here who doesn't share my views, and I need to be respectful about that, particularly because I'm someone who has their name on the door and I sign paychecks. And even though I don't go around thinking of myself as the boss, because I don't, I think of us as a team and that we collaborate together and that we work with each other. I never say that somebody works for me. It just doesn't feel right. Even with all of that, there is no denying the fact that if I'm sitting on the phone talking about my political views and somebody disagrees with those views, they may feel uncomfortable. They may feel like they're not going to get a fair shot in the firm if they have a different perspective. So I have to be careful about that. I don't always do it. My point is, as hard as I try to be a good leader, I'm not perfect. Having said that, the efforts that I go to try to make people feel respected and valued and like an important member of our team pays off in so many different ways, not only work quality, tenure, people want to stay longer, all of that. I've never had a lawsuit. I've never had a complaint. I've never even had a legal claim that's with an administrative agency in this firm. And we've almost been open, you guys, for 20 years. And it's not because I haven't done dumb things. I think it's because people realize, hey, she's trying. She's trying to make an effort. She's trying to appreciate us. She's trying to show that we're valued and we're respected. So we're going to give her a break. Okay, now, believe me, do I have nice people who have been sued who I've represented over the decades? You bet. I'm not saying that just because you're nice, you're going to skate from having a legal claim. But I do think when you think about how to reward people, it matters. So think about simple things, right? Here we are in the middle of summer. You could give some time off. That may not be possible. Maybe you are a public sector employer. You can't just give people time off. Maybe this is your busiest time of the year. That's fine. You can do other things. You can bring in popsicles one day and have everybody eat popsicles. You can have people take pictures of their summer vacations, and you could create a little collage online, especially if you're a remote workplace, so people can have something to ask their coworkers about. You can talk to folks about their favorite vacation spots to give other people ideas about where they want to go. And you can host a virtual happy hour or a happy hour in your office if you're all coming to on-site work, where you have some, yummy sangria and some nachos or whatever, or you meet at a restaurant downtown, or just doing something that makes people happy. We had a really interesting issue a couple of weeks ago. We always have a summer event and a holiday event in the firm. And we were planning the summer event and we weren't getting any responses. So Ronnie, our firm administrator, came to me and said, well, Jen, I don't think anybody wants to do a summer event this year. Nobody's responding. Well, it turned out that the email Ronnie had sent was, this is what we're thinking of doing. If you don't like the idea or you're not available on this date, let me know. So in other words, she wasn't asking for RSVPs. She was asking for, if you don't like this idea or you're not available, let me know. Well, nobody got back to her because they liked the idea and they're available, right? So what's so interesting to me about that is sometimes there are misunderstandings. And I was sort of like, well, gosh, nobody wants to do this thing. We were doing Tipsy Pet, where you go, it's a little indoor kind of arcade, and you get fun bites to eat, and you can drink, and the kids can come, and it would all be very mellow and fun. And I kind of got my feelings hurt. I was like, well, gosh, nobody wants to do it. Well, it turns out lots of people wanted to do it, and they were available, so they didn't respond to the email. So when you do these kinds of things, you have to think about the logistics, right? You have to think about how you're going to roll it out. Who's going to be invited? How do you make sure everybody's included? How do you make sure that people's questions are answered? All of those things are really important. And when you think about it from the perspective of how to reward people, it's always a good idea to just ask. Hey, I want to show my appreciation for you. What sounds good? You want lunch? Do you want a gift card somewhere? What do you want to do? Right? And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, when you're in the public sector, it's harder to do this, but you can have a potluck. I mean, there's so many things you can do even in the public sector. So I really want you to think about what you can do, how you can make people feel more valued, how you can make them feel like more part of the team. And it doesn't have to cost a single dollar, you guys. One of the most important things you can do is just say thank you. When somebody does something for you, or you wake up in the morning and you realize, I'm really lucky to have this person X on my team, take the minute, dial the phone, send the text, whatever it is, and let the person know. I think it's so important to actually emote when you're feeling positive about your team. So many times I think we tend to emote when it's something negative. Oh gosh, I have to have a meeting about this happening or that happening, and this isn't going well, and that isn't going well. But what if we just took a little spin and said, okay, let's talk about what is going well. I'm going to leave you a message. One of the things my staff did for me a couple of years ago, and it's like my favorite thing on the planet, I have a little green apple, and it has all of these really sweet affirmations in it. Things like, let's see, I'm going to open it up right now. It's got things like, you are always surrounded by light and positivity. We all love you so much. I'm just pulling these out of this container. We love you, LUV. It is a beautiful day. Go out and enjoy it. Not only smile with your face, but also with your heart and mind. Don't forget. Okay, these are just really sweet things, right? And I know you're probably hearing me rustle these papers. I'm sorry about that. Okay, my point is, they put this together and it brings me joy literally every single day. This did not cost money, okay? It took time. It took energy, it took some creativity, but it's literally a little see-through plastic apple where the lid comes off, and then they wrote little notes on paper. You can do this kind of stuff, and it makes a difference. I always have sent notes with my daughter Ella in her lunches, and she's just finishing her first year of high school, which I cannot even believe. I can't even go into that. So this year, she decided to take lunch at school, because she said, Mom, I like the chicken sandwiches. They have chicken wraps. It's good. It's easy. I want to do that. Okay, great. So her last day of school, she said, Mom, I've really missed something this year. And I said, what have you missed? And I'm thinking, what can I do? She said, you didn't write me notes anymore. I said, oh, well, honey, I used to put them in your lunchbox, and now you don't take your lunch. She looked at me and she said, well, you could put them in my backpack. She's right. I could put them in her backpack, right? I just didn't think about it. So everyone, here's the thing. Give it some thought. What can you do to really thank folks this summer? It's going to be a long couple of months. Obviously, we have listeners from all over the world. So just take a minute. Think about gratitude. Think about how good it feels for you to say thank you to people. And do the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to cost any money. Like I said, it can be as nice as thank you for everything you do. Take a minute. I think you're going to see some really positive results from that little bit of effort. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, if you've got ideas, send them my way, jshaw@shawlawgroup.com. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you next time. Workplace Wake Up, including our guests and hosts, do not provide legal advice in this podcast. Do not act upon any of the information discussed in this podcast without first consulting a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to spread the word, please share it with others. Post about it on social media and/or rate and review it. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and email us at info@shawlawgroup.com.